YouTube, it's me, Bri. Welcome back to my channel where you'll find videos on writing, editing, and publishing every Friday. As a published author, I receive a lot of questions from people, especially on social media, and most of the time I'm more than happy to answer these questions. However, I have also received some questions that I dislike so strongly that I have decided to never answer them again. If you want to learn the right way to communicate with authors, including which questions to avoid asking them, then keep on watching. Number 1. Can you give me a free copy of your book? First off, there is probably nothing more offensive to an author than going up to them or reaching out to them online and letting them know that you don't value their work enough to pay for it. On top of that, a common mistake I see people making is that they not only ask for a free copy of my book, but they also ask for me to pay for them to then review it, which obviously only adds insult to injury. You would be surprised how many people think that this is the right way to go about reviewing a book and getting a free copy. If you have done this in the past, please stop doing it. If an author wants you to review their book, they will almost always reach out to you, or if you have a pretty significant platform, you can always request to review their book, but with the understanding that they're not also going to pay for your review. Number 2, are you published like for real or just self-published? First off, oh my god, I can't believe I still have to say this in the year of our Lord 2019, but self-publishing is real publishing. Also, if you go up to a self-published author and say this to their face and they slap you, you have earned that slap, as far as I'm concerned. Don't ever say this to anybody ever, ever, ever. Get out of here with your gatekeeping. I'm tired of it and it's garbage. Number 3. How much money do you make? Well, I understand this question mostly comes from a good place, especially when it comes to, the people who ask it are almost always aspiring writers interested in how much they can earn if they want to make writing a living. But you wouldn't really go around asking anyone else what they make at their job, so probably don't do it to writers either. Number 4. When is your next book coming out? Trust me when I say that most writers are already incredibly stressed about deadlines, especially if they are traditionally published. Self-published authors do have a lot more control over deadlines and when their book comes out, but a lot of times those deadlines will still get pushed aside even if you're self-published because life happens and shit gets in the way. As for traditionally published authors, there is a much lesser degree of control regarding releases and things of that nature, so asking a traditionally published author this is really only going to stress them out and frustrate them because they can't give you a straight answer and oftentimes they don't know the answer themselves. Number 5. Where do you get your ideas? This is another well-intentioned question and it is one I get frequently in interviews. It's not one that I will completely write someone off for asking, but at the same time, there's no good answer to this because I get my ideas from everywhere and I would wager that a lot of other writers do too. In fact, most of my ideas, I can't pinpoint a single source for them, so whenever I get a question like this, it's hard for me to give an answer, and then I get flustered, and it's just a vicious cycle. Number 6. Can you read my book? I get that for a lot of writers, it is helpful to reach out to a more experienced author and get feedback on your work in progress, but authors are busy people. Like everyone else, they have a bunch of other projects to work on that are writing related, as well as, in most cases, a day job that they have to worry about, not to mention commitments to family, friends, spouses, and things of that nature. I'm always flattered when someone asks me to read their book, but I always feel a weird sense of guilt about it and obligation, and most always find myself struggling to make time to read that book, even if it was a book I was excited to read in the first place. There's something about feeling like you have to read a book that makes it that much harder to actually read. If you want an author to read your book, I encourage you to focus on developing a relationship with that person that will help get them interested in your work more organically than if you just reach out to them and ask them to read it. Number 7. Can you get me published? I understand again where this question is coming from because authors have been through the publication process themselves, but it is really weird to reach out to an author and ask for something like an introduction to their agent or ask for them to put in a good word or something like that. Unless the author has already offered to do so, it just makes you look desperate and like you're using the author for their connections, which isn't a good look for anybody. Plus, when it comes to getting published, especially getting traditionally published, what makes a good book is subjective, and the author might not know what your agent wants any more than you would. In terms of the actual editing and steps toward getting published, I can help with that, and usually if I sense that that's what someone is asking, I will offer to help in that capacity. But as far as actually publishing your book for you or reaching out to an agent for you, that's something you have to do on your own. That's all the time I have for today. If you liked what you saw, give this video a thumbs up, click subscribe, and ding that bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks again to all my Patreon supporters, and I love you all. Bye!